So I am recording the call today so we can put this on for all the people that cannot make the call today. So our facilitators today are AJ Office and Darlene Langout. And I just want to say welcome to everyone who's on the call. And I'm going to just start, this is the topic, and then we will turn it over to AJ and to Darlene. And I actually am excited about this topic because when we practiced this the other day, I learned new stuff. The old dog learned a lot of new things about research. So this is really, this is called What Good for Whom, and it's a webinar to grow knowledge and communication for the purpose of Girl Scouts of Western Ohio's research and evaluation activities. The webinar access to organizational and other research in order to grow and communicate knowledge about girls and their development for use in marketing, training, program, and other Girl Scouts of Western Ohio work. For 2 decades, Girl Scouts of Western Ohio has harnessed primary and secondary research to guide its short and long-term decisions. In addition, Girl Scouts of Western Ohio has experience with external audiences, having taken the lead in community research with other United Way youth-serving agencies to assess the attitudes and behaviors of regional 7th and 11th grade students. The Search Institute's A and B survey.
Old milk tube as it smells.
Could you please put your phones on mute? Please put all phones on mute. We are getting a lot of feedback. Okay. So I was saying that we have been working with youth-serving agencies to assess the attitudes and behaviors of regional 7th and 11th grade students using the Search Institute's A and B survey. Currently, the Council is participating with other United Way funded agencies in the second-year pilot project of the Devereaux Student Strengths Assessment, or the DSSA, as you might see it, with Girl Scouts in grades K through 8. This pilot provides baseline community level data about social, emotional strengths, which have been shown as influencing academic success.
Jeanette, this is Lynn. Jeanette, my arm
Yes?
is not flipping through the screen, and it said something about that.
We haven't flipped anything yet. I'm just introducing what we're talking about.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
So national research partnerships include GSUSA's academic study and current GSUSA studies related to outdoors and volunteer systems. So that was a lot, but it kind of gives you the scope of what we've been doing just currently in the past few years and the past few decades. Research has been a part of my whole career here at Girl Scouts, and it goes beyond my 18, 19 years. So it's something that we are very strong in doing, and it really informs our work. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to AJ, and she's going to talk about the agenda, and we will start forwarding the slides now.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. We're going to talk today about just 4 so slowly the screen is revealing the agenda. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I guess it's just entertaining us. So what we hope to accomplish in the next few minutes is an overall council point of view. Why do we do research, the value of it, the big picture, everything from policy governance and corporate planning to the execution of activities with girls. We want to also talk about how paid staff are involved. We're going to just basically ask, well, why talk about it? What is the value for new staff members? We're going to be asking some open-end questions, so be prepared. Don't just sit back and relax forever. We're actually going to be asking you some questions that we hope that you will respond to. Then third, we're going to actually take a little tour of some of the research that's available both locally as well as nationally, and then we'll close with some questions. So Jeanette, let's take it to the next slide.
It's moved on my screen. I'm watching. Does everyone see why research or evaluate? There it goes. Okay.
It's, again, moving very slowly.
Yeah, it's there.
But the bottom of the screen is not all there. Okay. So why do research? Why evaluate? Well, the Blue Book of Basic Documents tells us that a chartered Girl Scout Council maximizes delivery of the Girl Scout mission by engaging and supporting volunteers to provide a nationally consistent quality leadership experience that achieves positive girl outcomes and reaches increasing numbers of girls. And it identifies two major ways that we know about this. One is it provides the benefits of the Girl Scout leadership experience and demonstrates the Girl Scout promise of law in action. And secondly, the Council will be using the National Program Portfolio, which includes enrichments that meet the needs and interests of girls in the jurisdiction. In addition, the Blue Book states that the Council Board of Directors ensures compliance with policies, standards, and procedures as related to its stewardship responsibilities. In Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, the board operates within what we call the policy governance approach. Within this approach, the board represents the membership by asking what good, for whom, and at what cost. Annually, the board evaluates the CEO based largely upon her ability to give evidence that these three questions are being answered. So we're going to move to the next slide, and hopefully it will move at a faster pace. But basically, we're going to start looking at the question that the board is asking: what good is it that we are offering? And when the next slide slowly reveals itself, it will be saying that among the three key areas of development known to us as discover, connect, and take action, we have four statements that we call end statements. And they are: girls will understand themselves and their values, girls will use their knowledge and skills to explore the world, girls will care about, inspire, and team with others locally and globally, and girls will act to make the world a better place. These ends are further defined by the 15 outcomes of the Girl Scout leadership experience that help girls identify personal interests, practice life skills, develop social and emotional strengths, and have opportunities for leadership experiences guided by the Girl Scout promise and law. Nationwide and local research is used by local Girl Scout troops, groups, service units, and council-wide decision-making to provide those resources, processes, innovative methods, and strategies to provide the Girl Scout leadership experience to all girls 5 to 17 who wish to belong. So we've talked about what good is going to be provided. We need to make sure we understand for whom, and the board has clearly identified that as the Girl Scouts, we're about girls 5 to 17. And you know this, but what is happening to those girls 5 to 17? Primarily in the troop experience, we know, and we have on this slide, that 67% of Girl Scouts of Western Ohio cadets seek challenges, and that 68% of 4th and 5th graders are resourceful problem solvers. 90% of adolescents in Girl Scouts of Western Ohio say that I feel I am just as smart as other kids. And 63% of BSUSA alumni said, I am competent in activities important to me. this slide is so important because in the environment where students are being looked upon to be successful academically, we know the importance of problem solving and challenge seeking and the correlation that it has to success in school. As we move on, Darlene's going to be talking to us about how the pathway and the troop as well as camp, series, and event pathways are important. Darlene?
Thanks, AJ. This slide shows for whom our outcomes are achieved by comparing the percent of survey items meeting the 55% benchmark by each of the 4 pathways. You see that in 2011, 88% of troop, 99% of camp, 76% of series, and 97% of events survey items met the benchmark among pathway participants. This helps visualize how research informs our work. So for example, if you are in outreach, you can look at the 76% of series girls that meet the benchmark, but when you compare them to the troop pathway at 88%, you can decipher that the girls in the troop pathway had a better experience. And then you can begin to analyze why that might be so, and you can develop your presentation of program as an outreach member to try to accommodate the series girls and make their experience closer to the troop experience. So why would it be important to know who the outcomes and benchmarks, the outcomes are achieved for?
Darlene, can you repeat that because you're breaking up a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So when you're looking at these numbers, why would it be important to know who the outcome benchmarks are achieved for? Anyone know, like in the field, if you were out giving program, why it would be important to know that the troop experience is at 88%?
Darlene, this is Lynn. I'm thinking this is good to know as we're looking at placing girls, what is the most effective and successful pathway for them. Maybe series would be something that we would not want to do. We would want to put them in troop. Did I answer the question?
Yes, and I think that we know that troop is one of our most effective ways to serve girls. And so again, something that you might do would be to try to mimic the troop experience as close as possible, right? So something we've talked about in the past is how can we accommodate, we know that series are only 6 to 8 weeks long, but a troop experience is all year long. So what are ways that we can compare to an event pathway or compare to a camp pathway and take some of those successful areas and apply them to the series? So what do you think about what you see in this slide? Is there anything surprising there?
Darlene, I was surprised that the events is so high, because usually those are just a quick one day, you know, that's as high as the series. So for me, what are we doing differently for events and camp that are more short term like the series that we're not doing for the series?
AJ, did you want to comment on that? From what I understand with events, another portion of it is we have a smaller sampling size with events, so that raises the effectiveness slightly.
You know, this is Jeanette. I also think that, at least for camp and maybe events, depending on the event, if the event is a weekend event, that it's kind of intense and can be full of activity and energy and I think it depends on the type of event, that it may score higher, or it may have an impact that's different than the troop, which is a long-term, more long-term experience that may not be as immediately impactful. So I think part of it is looking at what is going on, if we want to dissect it a little bit, at events that are causing them to be successful. So I think part of it is, I know just a camp experience, when you're at camp and you've had a week of a fabulous, camp experience, you're going to score that pretty high. If it really touched you as a girl, or you did something that you're very excited about, you can't wait to tell people, versus maybe a troop experience that, is not as intense. Does that make sense?
And this is AJ. Obviously, too, the series, if you think about educational outreach, many of them being at a school where they're bringing with them the intensity of their interactions with their classmates. Maybe they did poorly on an exam right before they came into the Girl Scout activity series. There's all kinds of variables that the facilitators of series have to deal with. And as Darlene said, troop leaders know this too, that even if they meet at 4 o'clock after school, if the girl has had, a challenging day at school, then, she brings that with them. Imagine if in a series, especially educational outreach, you're going back into that. So I think there's a lot of dynamics that are especially challenging in the series activities. And so I think designing for that is going to be important. Darlene, what else do you have for us?
Well, on the next slide, why is this information important for paid staff? So, as a new staff member, I discovered the importance of research by being involved in funding proposals. If you're not aware, we receive regular funding from United Way and other foundations which are local to each region. So in Dayton, we might have the Dayton Foundation there. So, for example, when I sit down to do end-of-year reports or write proposals to receive that funding, they want to know how effective our program is. So they want to see those statistics from the last slide, and they want to be able to say, okay, well, we'll give Girl Scouts X amount of dollars because we see that with 88% of girls that participate in their program, they receive a good program and they learn from it. So why would some of these same facts be important for something like recruitment? Anyone have any ideas? Do you think it would be, if you had to choose from the three on the screen, do you think it would be A, staff have facts to engage parents, B, staff have facts to engage girls, or C, statistics get girls' attention, if you're in a recruiting standpoint?
Well, I have someone who typed in the chat that said A.
Okay. And obviously, I think from what AJ was talking about earlier, we're talking about girls from 5 to 17. So do we think that these statistics are going to get their attention? No. A and B are good answers. More so A. You want to be able to let parents know that, like a report card that goes home from school, we have the ability to affect our girls in a positive way, and you want to be able to communicate that to parents if they're on the edge about why would my daughter participate in Girl Scouting, or why would she be part of a cookie sale, or why would she be part of a camping experience. She's at home all the time and they go camping as a family. And you want to be able to tell them, I think, in the next slide or in the next few slides, what AJ is going to show you is some more specific statistics to be able to draw them into the program.
Okay, so I think, Darlene, if it's okay with you, we'll move on to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you.
And this slide that you should be seeing says the staff use data to strengthen their performance. This is a picture of a logic model. And as a refresher, a logic model is a way of organizing our resources and activities into a theory of action in order for us to achieve some outcome. And you can see those categories kind of on this slide, that if we have certain resources and we organize them into activities, we're going to achieve certain results, both in terms of outputs and outcomes. Now, at an individual level, Girl Scouts of Western Ohio staff will be expected to know how to use this evaluation data to strengthen their own job performance. Our local logic model can help us to understand what services and activities need to change in order to improve performance. In this slide, it shows that at one time, feedback data told us that only 47% of leaders say that girls have time to think, talk, or write about what they did during the service activity. And at the same time, only 49% of volunteers said that there are enough volunteers to accomplish goals. So, what would have to change in order for there to be more time for this activity? Well, when I think about it, I think that it may be that the troop leader has not enough help in her troop to break up the girls into smaller discussion groups to talk about what they've learned, what they would do differently the next time, and what their ideas are for success in the future. And so a way around that to involve not only program and adult engagement, but also community engagement would be to actually recruit additional volunteers or adults that can help out the adult leader on a floating basis so that she does have more hands to help in this activity. Are there any of those of you on the call who have experience in strong troop delivery where you had more adults with hands in the activities? Is there anyone that has that success? Okay, I guess not. That's why that a lot of adults say that we don't have enough adults to achieve goals and objectives without heroics. And so we're going to move on to the next slide. The next slide asks what's out there. And we have both local and national research. Locally, on the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio website, there are two links that are really helpful to prepare you to engage volunteers, parents, educators, and community members through research strategy and innovation. And by clicking on these links, you can access the local Girl Scout Council website and see a variety of sources that are available to you. In addition, you can see what girls are saying about their experience in Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, as well as there are opportunities to find out what's happening with adults. In addition to the local research, the national research, GSRI, which is the Girl Scout Research Institute at GSUSA, has its own link, which is available to you on this slide, and it provides access to not only publications, but also newsletters available through the GSUSA site. I think this is one of the pieces that is so surprising to people when they look at the Girl Scout program, is that it is so research-based. And this is one of the benefits of being part of a national organization that is based in positive youth development, because the outcomes, the 15 outcomes, are vetted by positive youth development professionals and are based on sound research in child and youth and adolescent development. Are we ready to move on to the next slide?
Do we have any questions about the links? Did you see what I pulled up? This was an area of learning for me, that there was so much on our council website that we can direct parents and community members to, and even, you know, our volunteers to. So did everyone get to see what I pulled up? Not hearing any. Are you guys still there? Hello? Oh, you?
Yeah, I think we're all on mute.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I got quiet. Okay, and viewer 8, she's communicating me through chat. I appreciate that. It's just I think we're having internet problems. The computers are going in and out, so there may be a delay on the screen. So I just want to make sure. Okay, we're moving forward.
Okay, the next slide includes a type of model. I don't know that it's a true logic model, but we've tried to organize and help staff have access to research sources. And we've done this by creating a document called Research Sources and Citations Framework. And if we look at this like a logic model, starting from the left to the right, we see that on the left side of the chart, that in fact the Girl Scout leadership experience is anchored in, and frankly is a unique brand of, positive youth development. And you can see that under the column Positive Youth Development, there are several foundations for the development of the Girl Scout leadership experience. There's everything from the National Collaboration on Youth, to Search Institute, to research from GSUSA that it did prior to the 15 outcomes on the 10 emerging truths, as well as information about the needs of out-of-school time and information about children, youth, and families, as well as 21st century skills. So in doing all of that research, that foundational research, in the second column, a group of issues that could be environmental, personal, or academic, as well as societal, that affect girls. And some of those issues are identified in the next column, everything from civic engagement and body image all the way to academics and STEM. So based on this second column, the experts at Girl Scouts of the USA went about refining the Girl Scout program delivery process in 2007, 2008 to what we know today as the Girl Scout leadership experience. And the experience itself, in case you need to refresh yourselves or interpret to a school principal or to a guidance counselor, all of these basic findings are available in Transforming Leadership and the Transforming Leadership Continued. And these really outline the Girl Scout leadership experience, as well as the Redefining Leadership really talks about what girls themselves are looking for in leadership, which indeed is different than what sometimes adults perceive as the elements of leadership. So having done this basic research, identifying issues, and identifying a Girl Scout leadership experience model, the next step was to identify whether or not there was success. Were girls gaining skills? Were they developing positive attitudes? Were they developing values that were consistent with what the experts and girls themselves said about leadership? And in fact, we have, over the years, gauged the success of the local council, and the most recent reports from 2013 are listed in that fourth column to serve as evidence towards the 15 outcomes. In addition to that, the social and emotional skills are spotlighted in a document that's also included in that fourth column. Now, once those 15 outcomes are achieved and the evidence is shown, we want to know how, in fact, girls are taking action upon the mission, making the world a better place. And so for that part of the story, as we move towards the right side of the chart, we see that we have information that compares girls now to girls 20 years ago and how their beliefs and values have changed, as well as the more recent information on academic success. Ultimately, the last column is what we hope for all girls, that as adults, they continue to take action in the community. And we have evidence that that in fact happens through the Alumni Impact Study and the Girl Scout family research. So taken together, this framework provides a way of describing not only the experience that girls have in the Girl Scout leadership experience, but the foundation for its development and the evidence that we have for its success. Moving on to the next slide, I hope that some of you will be able to say that you have gained some knowledge today. You have the puzzle pieces to help in the delivery of the Girl Scout leadership experience. Hopefully you have increased overall understanding of the council point of view about research. You have a little bit more information about how paid staff are involved, and have more awareness of what's actually out there in terms of both local, national, and regional research. Armed with this information, we challenge you to continue using this information to help identify girls' interests and needs, that you will use this information to be sure that you can verify that the 15 outcomes are reached, that you will know where to find out more about the Girl Scout leadership experience and what girls want in leadership, that you can find out, if you're asked, how the Promise and Law informs the Girl Scout leadership experience and its 15 outcomes. And ultimately, you can talk about the role of prepared adults in at least two ways. One, as the result of their own Girl Scout leadership experience, and secondly, as a potential partner to current girls ages 5 to 17. So thank you for being with us. And if you have any questions, you can type them in, or we'll open the mic now if you want to unmute yourselves for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Darlene. Do we have any questions? I'm not hearing any. It's a lot to take in.
Jeanette,
Yes.
where can we find this? I typed it. I don't think my typing's going through. Where can we find this information for future reference? Like, I like some of the links to things.
Okay. We have the, are you talking about the slide that has all the links that that she just talked?
And I like the one with the troop and the series and the events and.
Okay. So I will make this available to people. I don't know exactly who's on the call, but I will send it out to everyone who was on the list for the call, the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
So you have that, and then we also are putting this on the YouTube channel, so you can always go to that. And I have not mastered yet, I don't know if you can put other resources on YouTube, but I think you can put maybe links to resources, so I will try to do that with the YouTube, and I will send all of that link out to everyone on the call as well. So we'll make sure you'll have all of this.
And Jeanette, it also is going through work order process for that one chart, and will be in the L Drive research one-pagers.
Okay, so I'll send that link as well. So we'll get, for everyone who was invited to the call, we will send out links to all of this information.
Could I just hear what the functional areas of the listeners are, like what, if you're community engagement or program or whatever? Could I just get an idea, a sense of what your functional roles are?
Pam and I are community engagement managers in Lima.
Okay.
I'm in recruitment.
Who's that?
Lauren Light
Okay, Lauren in
in
Toledo.
Toledo. Yeah.
This is DeJounte Hawkins, the Community Outreach Manager in Toledo.
Excellent.
Claire and Dayton's recruitment.
Okay. Do we have anybody in Cincinnati? Not hearing. Okay.
So if you were to give advice about new staff coming in, because this is one of the things Jeanette and I have been talking about, is how to best equip new staff with the information they need to really be equipped to talk to people in the community, to face pushback, to make sure that they're the most, prepared. What would be helpful or would have been helpful to you thinking back to your very first time, very first days? Do you have any ideas?
AJ, this is Lynn. I was telling Pam when I first started, it's been about a year, when I first started, this all didn't make much sense to me. Jeanette, I think, went over it in person and gave me some examples, which was helpful, but only now is it really, now that I've been through a full year and I've done some direct programming over the summer, am I seeing, oh, okay, now it's really coming ahead, so I think review, because people might pick it up and really start to understand it at different times.
When you say understand it, what is it?
The leadership experience and the outcomes and kind of how we measure them and why they're important. So why we do what we do. It was explained to me, but it really, it was just words on paper for the first probably 3 months, I would say.
I see.
That's good to know, Lynn. Thank you.
This is BJ at Toledo. I don't know if mine went through, but for me, seeing what Lynn was saying, also it helps to hear repetitive people say it more and more. Reading it on paper rather than actually hearing it is a totally different thing for me. And also going through the website of GSUSA and of Western Ohio helped me as well. The more I looked at stuff, the more I looked up stuff, the more I could actually help other people as well.
Excellent.
So are you saying that if new staff were asked in an interactive way to kind of hunt up, be given links and kind of hunt out answers to questions that might be a way of speeding up the learning process?
Yes, Jeanette, I think that will help, and I think like having scenarios, like in this situation, what are these people attaining, in real life examples.
Okay. Good. Okay. Any other questions before we sign off? We're at about 44 minutes. Thank you so much for participating. I will follow up, hopefully by, I'm trying to think what today is, the end of Monday. If you do not receive a email from me, please feel free to prompt me. There's just a lot going on right now, but it's going to go on my to-do list. I hope to have it out within the next 24 working hours to all of you.
And I do that is going through the work order process, so it will hit the L drive, I would guess, by the end.
All right. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.